Hi everyone, this is Lori from the Crafting Auntie, and I'm back with you with a project. I went out on YouTube. I found this lovely gal. Her name is LeNae Creates, and she has some amazing projects. And I fell in love with this paper bag journal, and it's made out of lunch sacks. So, of course, I used Carolyn Musings digital papers, and this is called Quilted Noel. And I had so much fun. I made some changes, so put some Lori take on it. So, but the construction pretty much is the same that LeNae shows you. I will link her channel below. You can check her out because she is a lovely person. So I want to show you how to make this, and I'll show you the little changes that I have made. So I shared this on the group, Carolyn's group, One Way Journals, and there were several ladies that said they wanted to know how to put this together. So I'll show you what I did differently, and we will go ahead and put this together. So what you're going to need is 4 lunch sacks. So just 4 lunch sacks. These are 5 1/8, and we are going to cut these down to 10 inches. So they're a little over 10 inches. Let's see, I think they're probably 10 3/4. So we're going to take them down to 10 inches. We're going to use those. We're going to use some chipboard pieces, and I'll tell you the measurements when we get to those. And then let me show you some of the papers that I'm using from Carolyn's kit. Now this kit is the Gingerbread Christmas. And so I have printed off some background papers. I haven't printed off any of the journal pages, just background papers that we'll use on this. So let me just quickly show you. I've chosen, I think these are upside down. I've chosen these two for the covers and the spine. Aren't they gorgeous? Look at those gingies. They are so cute. And then I just printed off a bunch of the other ones, and we'll use them on the various pages. So we've got this one. You don't have to print on the back. Got this one. I love this one. And we have, this reminds me of a sweater. I love that. And I love this one too. This one. And then we have this one. And these are all out of the Gingerbread Christmas. This is a new kit. I will link the kits below. And then this one. And then on the one I did previously, I made my own tags, but this kit has lots of beautiful tags. So I'm going to go ahead and use a lot of these in here. Some are perfect size. Hopefully I won't have to trim any of these, but I think they'll be able to work well, like underneath a belly band or something. So we have these. And then we have these. Probably be using a lot of the shorter ones. I'm not sure. These might fit in some of those straight pockets that we put in here. And then these are reduced down to 75%. So they are like recipe cards. And I just think they're so cool. So in the one I did previously that I showed on One Way Journals, I made some cards to put into the lunch sack openings that I'll show you that were for writing. And I thought it would be fun to add these inside there, as you can write on here. We'll mount these onto another piece of cardstock, and then we'll insert those into the opening. So I have this one, and then this one, and this one. So I thought these would be perfect to go in there. And what we mount them on the back, you can still write. And then I decided to use some of these pockets. And she has pockets that actually match up to some of the journal pages, but I didn't choose any of those because I wasn't using the journal pages. So I've chosen these, and I've chosen these, and I may be having to cut them down a little bit. But I think these will work, and maybe we'll make a few of our own. So that's going to be the papers. So the first thing we want to do is take our paper trimmer, and we just want to reduce these bags down to 10 inches. So the next thing you want to do is you want to fold these in half. So the main thing you want to do is on the front, we want to put this piece this way so that your pocket goes this way, and on the back it's going to go this way. So the next thing we want to do is to create our hinge. So you're going to need a couple of pieces. So first you're going to need a couple of pieces of a heavier cardstock. So I'm using this craft cardstock. It's 110 pound, and I cut this to 5 1/8 by 5. So that will go on the front and on the back. So these would be the covers. This piece is your spine piece, and it is 5 1/8, so for your height, 10 inches long, and we're going to be doing some scoring on this one. So let me grab my scoreboard. Okay, we're going to start out by scoring at 2 inches. So this is the 10-inch side. So score at 2 inches. And then we want to score every 1/2 inch until you have 13. So we're going to be scoring all the way up to 8, leaving 2 inches. So every 1/2 inch. So that means 2 1/2, 3, 3 1/2, 4, 4 1/2, 5, 5 1/2, 6, 6 1/2, 7, 7 1/2, and 8. So that leaves 2 inches on each side. And then we should have 13. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Okay, so that's all the scoring that we'll need. You will want to have your bone folder available so that you can get some really good creases. So the first thing we're going to do is we're just going to start folding back and forth. So this one, and then we want to take the next one and fold this way. And then you'll start to get these peaks. So we just keep folding. Main thing you want to do is make sure you're going straight so that you don't have any wavering or anything changing in your hinge. So now we have our hinge system. So let's just push this together. So that's going to be for our pages. Now we only have 4 pages, so basically you're going to be skipping every other one. So then let's take our covers. We'll take our bags. Now for the front cover, we are going to put the pocket to go this way. So you want it to go this way. So we are going to just glue this cover right onto the top. I'm just going to use my art glitter glue. Okay, and then the next thing we're going to do is do the back. So the back cover, you want to have the pocket going this way. So now we're going to start putting this onto our hinge. So this is our front, pocket to the left, and we are going to be gluing this down to the front flap piece, which is our 2-inch piece, and this right here. So we add glue here. And here. And then we are going to glue this, line it up, and glue this on. Make sure you get it straight. And press it down. There is our first piece, our front cover. Just make sure you give it a chance to dry. If you need more glue, add it. I need a little bit more right here. I think this lighter paper is going to work, I think, a little bit better than the heavier. Okay, so there's page 1. Now we're going to skip. So you're going to skip this one, take your next bag, and you can do it either way. You can either have your pocket to the left or your bags to the right, your opening here. I'm going to turn it to have my pockets to the left. So now we are skipping one, and we are going to put this one right in here. So that's giving you a space in between. And the way she explained it is that it does help it to move more freely, and she's correct. It does. So now we're going to add glue to both sides of this. Whoops. Getting a little off track here. Make sure I have enough there. And then we're going to take this piece and line it up and secure that down. Just press that down really well. There's our page 2. We're going to skip one again, and we're going to add the next page. Okay, now this is our back cover. So this pocket is going to go this way, and we're going to glue this same way we did on the front. We're going to glue here and here. So now you have your little journal, and you can see how it opens so nicely with having that hinge system and every other one. But I was thinking you could even also, before you actually cover the outside of this spine, you could add some pages in here if you wanted to. I think there's a world of opportunity what you could do with this. So, but this is the main construction. And then we have pockets that we'll make, and then these are the inside pockets that I was talking about. So we have all of those in here. Okay, so the next thing we want to do is to start to cover it. And I have chosen these two pieces. So I thought this would be really pretty on the front. And then I thought this would be really pretty on the spine. So we're going to cut a couple pieces. Now our piece is 5 1/8 tall by 5 inches wide. So I like to have just a tiny border. And that's pretty much what she did, just a small border. I don't like a whole lot of border. So let's try cut a couple pieces out of this, and this will be for our front and our back. Okay, so here's our 2 pieces. And then for this piece, we want this to be 3.5 inches long this way, and then 5 1/8. So all you need to do is, we are going to have about 3/4 of an inch that this is going to overlap on the front here and on the back. And that's going to create our little spine area. So what I wanted to do then is to score this. So we're going to score at 3/4 first, and we're going to do that on both sides. So 3/4. And then we are going to score every 1/8 an inch all the way to before we get to this other 3/4 inch score line. So let me just ink these because it's hard to see. Let's see. Just add a little bit of ink so we know where we're starting and where we're stopping. Okay. So here's my 3/4 inch, and then I'm going to go every 1/8 of an inch. Okay, so now it should look like this. It's kind of hard to see. Try to dim my light a little bit so you can see the lines right there. And what that does is it just naturally will kind of curve for you. So now is a good time to do some inking around the edges of your pieces that you want to put on, and if you want to go ahead and ink your whole book, you can do that. I'm just going to go ahead and use my vintage photo, and I'm just going to go around my pieces. The front cover on and the back cover. Let's see. So we've got that done. Now we can put our spine piece on. So we are going to put glue only on this 3/4 inch side here and this 3/4 inch side here. And there we have our spine piece. Now the beauty of this is that they open and lay flat. So you want to make sure, and this will push back in and give you just a really nice spine area here. Okay, so that is the construction, the front cover, and the back cover. Now let's do one of the pockets here. So this is going to create a small pocket for something small in here. So we would just need a couple of pieces, one small piece here and one for here. And we'll be doing that on all the pockets. I'll show you on one of these, and then I'll show you on one of these how I covered and how I also covered this spine piece. So let me just cut some pieces and then I'll come back to you. Okay, I've cut some pieces now, so let's do an inside pocket here. So I've cut this piece, which is 5 inches by 3 1/4. So that'll go on here, and then I cut this one, make sure I'm going the right way. Then this one is going to go here, and it's also 5 inches by 2 1/2. And these pieces, again, I take them in here as far as I can. So let me just kind of give you a quick measurement, and then I'll show you what I do on the side with the hinge. So they're about, I would do like 4 3/4 by 5. And then that way that gets you down closer here. You don't see too much of the paper bag. But on this side, I did the same thing. I cut this piece to go here. But then I cut off, looks like I need to trim it just a tad. I cut off 3/8 of an inch, and this is going to cover the hinge right here. So on that one, so I would do it at 4.5, and then that would give you enough, and then 3/8 of an inch to go onto your hinge piece. Okay, so let's ink this edge again. Your hinge is covered as well. And since I've written on mine, it's nice to cover it. So now you have a page like that, and then we have this pocket page. So basically that's going to be the rest of the pages. So what I want to show you now is the closure. So the closure I used are these little magnetic snaps. You can get these on Amazon. I will try to link these below. There's 2 sizes. There's this size and I think a larger size. So what I did is I cut a piece of the craft cardstock, and I cut it at 1 inch, and then I cut it 4 1/8 inches long. And then what I want to do is take my corner rounder. I'm going to use the large setting, and we're just going to round one end of the corner. Oops. And then I also cut 2 pieces of pattern paper. I chose this one. I thought it would look good with that. I'm going to corner round one end again so it'll match up. I think my corner rounder is getting dull. I do use it a lot. Okay. And now we can ink these. Now I cut 2 because I want one in the front and I want one in the back, because when you open it up, you got something pretty to look at as well. Okay, so let's glue one piece on. Okay, so this is going to come here in the front, and then it's going to wrap around to the back. But before I put the back piece on, just going to kind of manipulate this a little bit. So the way this goes on is this part of the snap goes on to our strap. So that is this part of the snap. And so what we want to do is put this on here. Now it's got these 2 little tabs. Kind of hard to see. So basically what I did is I just clear some space here. I just kind of lined this up, making sure that my tabs are going straight down this way. And I just took a pencil and I tried to center it as best I could, and then I made a mark here, and I made a mark here. Just straight lines. And then use your X-Acto knife and just cut those lines straight. So just like that and like this. Just enough to get those tabs through. And then you feed the tabs into the cardstock, like that. Okay, so you've got that. And then I just use my scissors and I flatten them like that. So you should have something that looks like this. Now we can cover the back. It's going to be on the underneath part now. Okay, so let's kind of round it. Use your bone folder. Kind of round it as best you can. And then on the back, what I did is I added 2 eyelets. So the eyelets will go into that back piece pocket, but your pocket isn't very large, so it's not going to hinder too much at all. And then let's just bring this over to see how far did I go in. So I went in about 1 5/8. So let's measure 1 5/8. Make a little mark. So 1 5/8. So right about there. And then we want to measure this way. So we know that this is 5 1/8. We'll just go with 5. And so do 2 1/2 and just a little bit in between. Right there. So this is going to get put right on there. So what I did is I glued it down first. So we'll do that. And then I thought it needed some decoration. So that's why I added the eyelets. You don't have to. It's just me. I like to do fun stuff. Okay. Now you want to make sure that you flatten this really well. So beauty of this book is it does flatten out nicely. Just make sure it's not crooked. Looks crooked to me. Let's straighten that out. Press it down really well. Okay, and then let's go ahead and add a couple of eyelets. So I have these eyelets, they're brown. Perfect. I'm going to use 2. So now this will come around into the front here. So now we need to put the other half of our magnet. So this goes to this, makes a nice snap. So let's see, how far did I come? Because this gets pretty chunky. So I kind of put it toward the edge here. So let's go back to our ruler. So we're at 2 1/2 and a little bit over. So let's go here. And then we do the same thing. We take our piece, and it's a pretty strong magnet, by the way. It'll hold this really well, especially as it grows and gets bigger. Okay, same thing. There's my center, so I'm going to make a little mark here. And another mark about here. X-Acto knife again. All right, so now we have our closure. So just train this. And there we go. So as this grows, because it's going to grow, you'll have some room here. So if you see this one, it's nice and sturdy. This one isn't full yet, so it's got a lot of room. Eventually it will get that way. Just keep rounding it, training it. And then as your journal grows, it will accommodate. Okay, so there's the closure. Okay, so really the only thing left to do is adding all the decorations to the pages and also adding some tags and things like that. So a lot of that, I'm going to be doing all of that off camera. I wanted to make sure I showed you how I did the construction based on LeNae's video, but the changes that I had made, especially on the spine and then this closure that I'm using, is different. And if you don't have that, you can use Velcro, you can use magnets, you can use string if you don't want something like this. It's entirely up to you. Okay, let's do some decorating together. So let me show you what I've done so far. So I have taken the tags that I printed, I've cut them all out, and I've inked them. And I've made all the inserts but one, which I'm going to show you how to do. And then I've placed some pockets. These are the pockets that came out of the kit. Now the main thing I did is I did reduce, cut off some of this part of the pocket here, and I shortened it. So you could print them smaller if you want to, but you really don't have to. Width-wise, they are perfect. So I'm just going to go through. I have got some strips of paper that I have turned into belly bands. And so we'll do that. And then we'll put these pockets in, and then I'll show you how to make the insert. So I did a lot of the page covering, so you'll see as I go along. Now these are the inserts, and I took all these amazing recipe cards. Recipe for sweet memories. 1 handful of giggles, 2 hugs of love, a sprinkle of cinnamon, bake until golden and warm. And I thought I'd put these on some cream color so you could write at the bottom and on the back. And then there's 2 inside each one of the bags. And they're different, but it gives you a lot of writing space. So I did those. And then I staggered all of the tabs, and I made the tabs from this tab punch. There are some tabs in the kit already. So you're welcome to use those, but I needed more. So this one, what I did is I cut off the bottom part of this, and I shortened up the sides, but it still fits here. So the way you put this one together, really easy. It's just, let's add some glue. Let's see, from about here down. Because I've shortened this, I want to make sure I do it right. So you can still see most of the snuggle season. And then we're just going to glue on 3 sides. And I'm going to leave this part here that's shorter because that way the card can go in a little further. Okay, so let's put this guy right here. And you'll see as I put this stuff in, the bag journal is getting fuller. Now you can also use this as a pocket here. So we've got a pocket here, and we got a pocket here. You don't have to. You could glue this down if you want to. Okay, so the strips, I just kept these, and I'm just going to use them as belly bands. And that's what I did on the other one. Any of the strip pieces I had left over, offcuts, I just put them here. And then last night, while I was sitting watching TV, I cut out some of the fussy cuts. So I'll show you what I do on that. Now this is a pocket already. So we've got pocket here and also in the front. I just wanted to show you how I did some of the decorating. You may do it as you wish. There's so many ideas you could do with this. I just love these, and the fact that they're so simple to make. So I'm going to put this belly band over here and then a pocket on the right side. Now, you could leave all these plain, similar to what LeNae did in her video. If you are like albums and you like to put photos in here for the season, then certainly just you don't have to do any of these pockets. I wanted to make it more like a journal because I don't have little kids and I don't have grandkids, so I just wanted to have something fun that I could use or I could gift to somebody. Okay, and then here's a pocket here. So I'm going to put this belly band here. And I think I had mentioned earlier that we have that those extra gussets in here. And I am really thinking of possibly, even before you put this outside spine on, of sewing in a small signature with extra paper. I think that would be fun, so I may have to play with that. The ideas just keep coming. And that's what happens when I'm working on stuff. You know, I get the concept of maybe someone's design, like LeNae's, and then I just go from there and everything just starts flowing. I don't know if that happens to you, but it happens to me. Okay. Here's all our pockets. And what do we have? Oh, and then this is just an offcut, and I thought it'd be fun just to put a pocket this way. So I'm just going to glue this on 3 sides. And then I just use a 1.5 inch, let's see, what did I use? 1.25 inch punch. And I created this thumb hole here. Okay, so the inserts that I made, I cut them to fit inside. So the outside piece, I cut it at 4 3/4 by 4 1/2. And then I rounded the corners using the large corner round. That way it inserts easily. And then make sure which way it goes, just this way. And I'm going to pull out this one, so I make sure I get it right. And then I'm going to put the tab right in the center here. So here's my tab, and again, I just punched these out of the extra paper. There is a few tabs, in this kit. You can use them and print them again if you want to, or you can use those and then add to it with these that you make. And then I'm just going to put this right here. Now I brought them down so that they don't stick out too far and run into your closure. So let me show you here. So I brought them down about like this. I put the tab on first, and then we're going to glue this right over the top. I love these recipe cards. I just am so excited using these new kits of Carolyn's. So the previous one I used the Quilted Noel, and then this one, the Gingerbread Christmas. And, okay, so then this one will go back here, and this one goes in the front, like so. And then I could show you how this is bulking up quite a bit. So let's snap our snap, and see these are just before the closures, so it works out pretty well, and it's bulking up nicely. Now when we add all the tags and add any other decorations, which I will, it will make it even fuller. And as you can see, your rounded spine really does round nicely here. So one other thing I wanted to show you real quick is I did a bunch of this fussy cutting last night, and these are all of these fussy cuts that I printed out. I don't think this is all of them, but I printed out the pages and then cut them out. So there's all kinds. I love this train. Oh, I love this train. Anyhow, what I do is I take some gold glitter paper. I think the gold works really nice. And then I choose what I want to maybe put on the belly bands. So I think this would be a good one for a belly band. I think the gingerbread house. Let's see, how many do we have? We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we have 5 belly bands. So let's do the gift. Definitely have to do a gingerbread. I think we can squeeze him in there. And maybe this will do a little bit smaller. Let's do the tree. And then some of these others we can use on the pockets. But for the belly bands, and you could still put these on the gold glitter if you choose to put on your pockets. So then what I do is I do use the Fabrifix or Fabri-Tac, whatever it is that you have. And I just glue these right onto the glitter paper, leaving a little bit of a border. And then when we cut it out, we'll continue that little bit of a border around it. So just glue all these on. Okay, so these need to dry well. While that is drying, we can go ahead and add some of our tags. And then we'll probably add some decoration on some of this afterwards, and then I'll show you when we're done. So I'm just going to randomly go in here and see what fits. I think I have some shorter ones. I have these. Yeah. Look at that train. My husband and I, we are hobby together as trains. And you can add eyelets. On some of these I will add eyelets, but some of them you don't need it. So here, let's put this cute snowman. And then maybe let's stick one in the back here. And then let's see, what do we have for a belly band that we can put in here? Let's put this one here. Is that going to work? Maybe this way. Yeah. And then put this one here. Sticks out the top of it, but I have backed it. Let's see. Some of these are a little bit too tall. Let's put that one there. Another train here. Is that going to work? Yes. And then let's do that here. Probably not going to have, I think what I'm going to do is if I add some of the, have some sari silk. I add some of that to the tops of these. Let's see. I think I have another. Let's move this one. Let's put this one here. That way I can do a topper there. And then maybe we can put that guy there. And we're probably going to have a belly band open and a couple of pockets open. That's okay, because you could always add more things to this. And I used eyelets, but I think this time I am just going to cut some and use my tiny attacher. Okay, so let's crisscross this and let it peek out the top. You can always add a little decoration if you don't like the staple. But I don't mind. Okay, so there's that one. That'll peek out. And then let's do this one. This one you can add an eyelet to if you want to. Any of them you can. If you don't like the staple. But I don't mind the staple. I think it's cute. Okay. There's our closure. And you see how it's bulking up and the closure is staying really nice. Okay, I'm going to finish some of the decorating and then we'll do a final flip through. Okay, my little lunch sack journal is finished. So here is the front. Added just a little fussy cut here to look like a little piece of candy on the closure. Added some trim, ribbons, and a doily, and then also one of the fussy cuts with the glitter. Here is our spine filling out nicely. And then here is the back. And then let's go ahead and go inside. See all the stuff we put in there. So here, this is our pocket. Added this card, added this piece of doily, and also this glitter backed fussy cut, and also one here, this card here. And then I showed you all of these. So there's 2 in each one of these parts of the bag. Added this little journal card here, and you can write on the back of this. You can also put something back here. I tucked this in here on the belly band, added this Christmas tree that was backed with the glitter paper, and it's a cardstock, so it's pretty sturdy. I just decided to add this tag and glue it down right here to give it some decoration, and then this small tag here, and a gingerbread. And then here we have our cards. This kit is so beautiful. Here I just added this cookie jar and then added this small tag. This one we did together. We just added the sari silk on top. I didn't put anything here. I didn't think it needed it. Here I added the gingerbread house that I backed with the gold. And then here we have the train. I think I'm going to turn it around this way. Here we have a bell, and we have this piece, a stocking underneath. Such a fun project. I didn't have anything to put in here, but there's more stuff to cut out, or you can tuck something in there. So that's what I have there. I backed this one with a little spoon with a bow on it, and then this one we did on camera as well. More of these. So you've got some writing space in here. You can also fold up some paper and put it in underneath the belly bands or into any of the pockets. This one I don't have anything in. You could definitely put it in there. Added this bell, added this tag right here. I did trim it down a little bit, so it's a little tight fit, but I like it peeking out. And added the train. I had to have the train. My husband and I, that's our together hobby. We collect the G scale. And then this is our snap that we used. And that, you see these a lot on purses, and they're amazing. They work really well with projects. So there's our closure. And here is the back. I added trim and a doily. And then real quick, I'll go through the one that I did share on the one-way journal group. I just added some trim here. This is done in the Quilted Noel kit of Carolyn's. Here we have a pocket with a card. And then these are just layered tags with an eyelet and sari silk. That way you can kind of flip it over the top of your pocket if you wish. These just have blank cards in them. So lots of writing. I made all the pockets and the tags from offcuts from this kit. And then here's fussy cuts that I also backed. These are all pretty much the same, just different tabs. This one is a belly band. I don't have anything in there. This one has this small card and this cross. And then we have joy card there. You can do all kinds of additional decorating. More tags here and the church. And then another one of the layered tags and pockets that I did. And this is sari silk, and I did all the eyelets also in gold. This is another pocket. This is the shorter pocket. These are so fun to make. Another tag that I did off of the offcuts from this kit. And then here's a belly band. I don't have anything in there. You could slip some paper in there, or make a little notepad and stick in there that you can have for writing space. And then plus you have all these for writing space, front and back. And then this one I didn't do anything on. You can actually put a photo here or add some paper, a little notepad that you could add here, and that would give you more writing. And then another one of these layered tags. So that is this one. Same closure. And then this is the back. Okay, so I hope you guys give this a try. It was a lot of fun. Totally fun. I will also link LeNae Creates her video where I learned how to put these together. I will put that in the description box along with all the kits. So you guys have a great day. God bless you all, and we will see you at the next video. Bye.